Hey, good morning. Welcome to Plymouth Barbell mobility session. We normally run these live on a Monday, but I am re-recording this one for my YouTube so that you can do this anytime that you feel like you need. The focus for this particular session is a lot more upper body focus. We will be doing some mobilizations and stretches for your back, shoulders, opening up the chest, a little bit for hips and glutes as well, just to kind of make sure everything that's connected is moving well for your session or your day. So thank you for joining me. We'll start in a cross-leg position. And we're just going to do a few stretches down here to start us off. So it doesn't matter which leg you have in front for now, but what we will do is draw the shoulders up towards the ears and then roll them down the back to open out the chest and just make sure that they're sort of rounded down through the torso. From here, we're going to take the chin over towards the chest and just enjoy a little bit of the back of the neck, sort of top back stretch here to start with. So we'll just hold this for a few seconds. And then we're going to come back out of that to a neutral position. And what we'll do now is drop one ear over towards the shoulder. So again, try and keep the shoulders nice and down. If you want to shrug the shoulders up and then draw them down the back again, just to reset them you can. But drop one ear down towards, just make sure that the torso doesn't tilt or the shoulders that come up, but we keep in that nice neutral position. We're stretching through the side neck, through the traps. And we'll hold this for a few seconds before we then take the opposite arm to the floor, so you can have hand or fingertips on the floor, wherever you can reach and keep your torso straight. We'll stretch out here. From here, we're going to take the fingertips up towards the ceiling. So imagine you're kind of pushing the arm away, so keep that arm locked and straight with the fingertips up. And then if you want to increase slightly, you can lift the arm. So keep it straight, keep it active, keep pushing through that hand, lift the arm, keep the ear dropping towards the opposite shoulder. Cool, and then just drop that one down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So come back to your neutral position, drop one ear over towards the shoulder, and just take a stretch here for a few seconds first, before we then take the fingertips to the floor, reaching the arm out, keep the shoulders in a nice neutral position. Then from here, we take the fingertips up towards the ceiling, stretching through the hand, pushing through the palm. And if we want to, we then bring that arm up. Again, holding this for a few seconds before we come back down. Cool. So from here, we're taking that from the sort of side neck and the traps now into the side of the torso. So we'll take the hands back down to the floor, reach a little bit further away so we're tipping, and drop the elbow down as far as you can go. Don't worry if it doesn't get there, but we want to keep the sit bones on the floor here, so don't take that hip off, keep them on the floor. From here, we're going to take the top arm up and over the head so we get a nice side stretch through the body. We're just looking forward for now. We'll hold this one for a few seconds before we then start to move the arm. And what we want to do is reach the fingertips forward and in front of us so the arm is straight. It's like it's brushing along a surface. So reaching the fingertips forward and then the thumb leading, we're going to brush along our surface to bring the arm up and over. Once it gets over our head, we're going to twist the torso, open the chest, open the eyes up towards the ceiling, so we get a mini rotation here, and then back down to bring us back to the front. So we'll just move through this one 3 to 5 times at your own pace. You can go nice and slowly if it's feeling good, or if you feel like you need to take your time through it, or you can speed it up a little bit, it's up to you. but just getting that rotation through at the end of the movement, keeping the hands active and alive. Cool, and then come back to your seat position. We'll go again on the other side. So hand goes down on the floor, reach it a little bit further away, drop the elbow down as far as it will go. Keep the sit bones in contact with the floor. Take the other arm up and over the top of the head for your initial stretch. And again, you can stay here for as long as you want. And then when you're happy, you can start to move the arms, reaching the fingertips forward. Leading with the thumb, pulling that arm back, up and over the head, and opening the eyes and the chest up towards the ceiling. And moving as slow or as fast as you want. Cool. So after this, we're going to come back to a neutral position and we're going to change our positioning into all four. So hands go down on the floor, nice flat palms. Make sure that you're not up on the thumbs here. So flat hands on the floor, knees are going to be underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. And we're just going to start here with a cat-cow. So tops of the feet planted in the floor. We're going to push them in, push the hands into the floor and lift the spine up towards the ceiling, curling over as much as you can, dropping the head. Stretching up through the back. Then you're going to move nice and smoothly and slowly to the opposite direction. So dropping the spine and the belly button down towards the floor, opening out through the chest and lifting the hips. What you'll do here is just move through these two positions. Again, take as much time as you need moving through them. It really depends how your body is feeling, but we want to keep moving smoothly. And then another choice for you is to incorporate or add in a little bit of a sideways movement as well. So when you're coming up through one of your stretches, you might take the hips and the shoulders to either side, just to include a little bit of a side body stretch as well. But you don't have to, that's your choice to add in some of those things. So just mobilising through the spine, feeling the skin, the fascia, and all the muscles sort of stretching and easing out. Cool. Coming back to a neutral position with the spine, core nice and active. We're now going to take one hand onto the back of the head so that the elbow is out. And then what we want to do from here is bring the elbow through so that it goes in between your opposite arm and leg. But get through as much as you can. So drop the shoulders to the floor if you can get there. And then rotating up, we're going to lift the elbow towards the ceiling as much as we can, really opening out through the chest. Feel that twist, that rotation, and move between those 2 points. Try and get right to the ends of the movement on each one. And again, you can go 3 to 5 or maybe more times if you're really enjoying it. Cool. Once you've done that on that side for a few times, we'll swap over. So replacing the hands down, taking the other arm up onto the back of the head, bringing the elbow through the leg and the arm on the opposite side, and then really opening up for that twist up and over the head. Cool. So reaching the ends of the movement, maybe taking a little bit more time in the bottom and the top phase of the movement just to really open out and work through those positions. And once we've done that, we'll replace the hand back on the floor for our neutral position. Stretching out through the lats then, from here, we're going to send one hand out in front of us, bring it across the body, and then drop the hips down towards the floor, dropping the head and really feeling that stretch through your lats. And again, you can hang out here for as long as you need if it feels quite nice. Or if it doesn't feel nice, but it feels needed. Cool. So staying there for as long as you want. We'll then come back to the center and we'll go same thing on the other side. So from a nice neutral position, one hand reaches forward, take it across the body, keep the hand where it is as best as you can. To sit the hips back, onto the heels, and stretching out. Breathing into the stretch, we'll hang out here for as long as you need before we then come back to our neutral position on all fours. And our next part, we're going to bring in our roller. Hopefully you've got one nearby. If not, quickly grab one. So what we'll do with this one is we're just going to roll out back, lats, lower back and glutes. So all that sort of muscle on our back body that's kind of linked all in together. So we'll start with the back first of all. And this one is just a sort of general up and down, get all the clicks out, enjoy. So placing the roller on your back, you're going to give yourself a nice big hug. Keep the feet planted on the floor. They're going to push into the floor to lift the hips. And then we can use that to move us up and down the roller as high and as low as you want. You may get a nice few clicks. You may find an area that feels it needs a little bit more attention than some of the others. That's fine. You can hang around on those parts for a bit longer if you need. Okay? From here, we're going to stop with the roller on the upper back, sort of between the shoulders, if you can get it there. And then from this position, you can drop the hips for now. We're going to take the arms clasped together up and over the head. So the ears are in front of the arms. We want to push up on the hands, so we've got a nice active shoulder position. From here, push into the feet again to lift the hips. And what we want to do is try and get these hands down to the floor or towards the floor. If you've got a kettlebell or something that's heavy or solid to hold on to overhead, even a barbell, that's cool. From here, we'll lower the hips down to intensify, to increase that stretch. Don't forget to breathe. Lots of people hold their breath when they're stretching, especially with this intensity. And then again, if you want to move up and down and roll through that, that is fine. But if that's too much for you and you just want to hang out there for a few seconds in static stretch, you can do that also. Good. Relaxing there. So again, spend as much or as little time as you want to on that. Just make sure that this position overhead is nice and active, so you're really pushing up through the shoulders, whether you're holding on to something behind or just holding on yourself, or even not holding on at all. The hands might just be overhead, but really push up, up, up on those. From there, we're gonna move slightly over to the side and just focus a little bit on our lats here. So with this one, we'll have roller placed on the floor, take the arm up and out in front of you so that the arm is straight. And if you take the roller to sort of under your armpit, you should feel the R place, the place that makes you sing opera, potentially. They might not be so bad, but mine feel terrible. So from here, you're just going to roll again up and down. You will find points where you feel like you might want to hold on that place or just give it a little bit more attention if it's particularly bad. But we want to keep moving around here and kind of easing that muscle loose. Okay, lats. So again, we'll do this on both sides. And take as much or as little time as you need. You can even pause the video at points, obviously. You have that luxury, so if there's anything that you like that you want to spend some more time on, do that, that's cool. So other arm out over the top, coming underneath the armpit, a little bit more to the back, and you will feel the places that require your roller attention. We spend a bit of time here. From here, we're going to move to lower back. So once you've had enough of your rolling up your lats, we're going to come up, and again, we'll go one side then the other. And we'll take the roller to the lower back. So you can go square on to start with if it helps you find that place. And then from here, you can rotate just slightly to one side so that you're accessing one side of your lower back rather than both at the same time. From here, again, take the hips off and use the hands and the feet to move yourself up and down on the roller. If you want more pressure, take the arms off. Again, we can have this hug position here, and it really kind of gets in, puts a lot more pressure on the lower back here. And if that's too much, keep the hands on the floor. That's absolutely fine as well. But again, just working through the muscle, easing it out a little bit, getting loose. Oh, and then we'll go the other side, same thing. So again, if you want to start square on the roller and then just tip yourself over to one side to access the lower back muscles. And taking the hips off, we use the hands and the feet to move ourselves up and down. Again, more pressure, take the arms off and go this way. Awesome. Keep with that for a little while. After our lower back, we move down into the glutes, just to finish off that chain of muscles all down the back. So from here, again, we go one side then the other. So starting square on the roller, we tip ourselves over so that we're accessing the glute on one side. The side that you're rolling, take that leg off, pop it on top of the other knee, and again, use the hands and the feet to manipulate your movement up and down the roller. Again, you might find places that feel quite nice with the pressure or that they need a little bit of attention. So you just work through that. Easing in. On the glutes. Cool. Once you're happy, we do exactly the same thing on the other side. So, butt up on the roller. Whichever side you're rolling, that leg comes up on the top. And then just have a little play with positioning. It might be nice to kind of notice how each side differs as well. So you might feel some of these things more on one side than the other. And that's cool. Awesome. And that concludes some of the rolling for now. So if you've got other things that you need to be or want to be doing during this time, then you can pause stuff and add in some of the things that you really like and enjoy or discovered from elsewhere. That's cool. So this one can go to the side for now, and what we are going to do is come now back into our floor space, and we're going to start off in a plank position. So as well as upper, we're just going to stretch now through some lower body as well. As soon as everything's all linked together, we'll come from a plank position. Bring one foot up towards the hand, so we've got a nice long lunge going on. Drop the hips towards the floor as much as you can, opening out the chest and moving through this movement. So figure of 8, forward and backward, side to side. However you want to move, just move through it so that we're easing open the muscles here and the joints and all sorts. Cool. Drop the back knee down. Then the same elbow as the leg. We've done this one a few times before, but we drop towards the floor as much as you can and then open and twist. So we have another twist here, but taking this one across most of the body this time, including the lower and the hips, glutes, quads, everything. So again, go a few times on that one side, and we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other. So once you're happy, you replace the hand down. We go back through a plank position for the other side. So taking the hand up, or the foot up towards the hand even, drop the pelvis down towards the floor as much as you can, really opening out through the chest and moving through this position. From here, we drop this back knee down, drop the elbow towards the floor as low as we can get it, and then open and twist towards the ceiling. And just moving through, excuse me, those two positions. Awesome. Cool. After that, we can come onto hands and knees. We're actually going to go down onto the floor, onto our front completely. So I'm going to lie down and do a little bit of a scorpion stretch. So hands are going to come underneath the shoulders. We're going to take one arm out horizontally to the body. So just make sure that that hand as it goes out doesn't drop down anywhere. We want it to come nice and straight out. From here, we're going to use the hand that's planted underneath the shoulder to push our torso round. We can take the opposite leg off to increase the rotation, increase the twist and the stretch, and opening out through the shoulder. And this hand that's planted, you can push in as much as you want. Cool. And then if you want to, also we can take this one off, take it over the top to open up through the chest even more on both sides. Cool. We're then going to rotate through, back onto our fronts, bring the hands in, send the other arm out. Almost forgot that part then. And then rotating round so that we're going to the other side. And then if you want to take this arm off, send it over the top, you can. Cool. Back to the other side again. We're going to flip all the way over. And if you want to, you don't need to spend too much time in these positions. If we want to just move through nice and swiftly. Just move my roller out of the way. So you kind of rock yourself from one side to the other, staying nice and active. So try not to just kind of drop into these positions, but just ease yourself through them so that we're getting a nice opening. One side to the other as many times as you like. Cool. Coming back onto your front. Some swimmers, we're going to take the chest slightly up and off. So engaging the lower back here, engaging the abdominal muscles to keep our core nice and strong. The chest is slightly off. We send both hands out in front of us as though we're swimming. Okay, and then they circle round. So keep this circle as big as you can get it, all the way, all the way, all the way. Flip the hands over and touch the fingertips together behind the back. Here. So moving through. Both of these, keeping the chest off, keeping the shoulders open, the arms engaged, really pushing out and up and over as best as you can. Keep it going, we've got a couple more to do. Awesome. Put the hands down on the floor underneath the shoulders. We're going to tuck the toes under, push up through a plank position to a downward dog stretch. Dropping the chest through as much as you can. Then we're going to shift ourselves through a plank position again, drop the hips down and open up to upward facing dog. And again here, just be aware of shoulders curling in, try and pull them together behind you and open up the chest. Keep the toes tucked under. We're just going to move through that sequence a few times. So we'll go downward dog, stay here as long as you want. Move through a plank position, nice and smooth. Drop the hips, open out through the chest. Same thing. So through downward dog, get a nice stretch through the shoulders here. Coming through, dropping the hips, opening up through the chest. As many times as you want. If you like it, you can just keep going. Awesome. Cool. Up onto the knees, send the hips back. We'll just take a little stretch here in child's pose for a few seconds for your lower back, before we then move on to our last couple of sequences. Cool. So we're going to come to a seat position with the legs out in front, so a pike stretch position. From here, we're going to take one foot up, place it over the top of the other leg, and then hug that leg in towards the chest. So we've got a twist happening here. What we're then going to do is take the opposite hand to the floor, fingertips to the floor, or whole palm, depending on what you can get there, and the eyes looking behind you. So just enjoying this twist to start with. And then from there, we're going to drop the chin towards the chest, keep the shoulders down, and then lift the chin so that the eyes go up towards the ceiling. So we're going to move through a yes, nod in this position. Cool. And we'll go same thing on the other side. So releasing yourself out of that twist, replace the legs, so the other one's now coming up and over for a hug. Twist through the torso, drop that back hand down and we look away first of all. And then from here, when you're ready, we just drop the chin to the shoulder and then looking up for our yes nod. Awesome. Okay, coming out of that one, last little bit. From here, from our seat position, we're going to plant now both feet onto the floor so that they're flat. Hands go behind us. We'll have fingertips pointing away for now, underneath the shoulders. From here, we're going to work through 5 of these, but we're going to press through the feet into the floor and lift the hips up as high as you can get them, really opening out through the chest. Holding this position, 2, 3, and then we lower down to relax. We do that 5 times. So we're lifting the hips up, pushing up towards the ceiling. We hold 2, 3, and then lower down. Same thing again. Coming up, holding there, nice and open through the chest. And then down. So keep going with this one for about 5 repetitions. Or again, if you want to hold it for longer or do more, then that's fine also. Cool. As per usual, I've lost count, but this may be my 5th one, so we'll just stop after this one. But again, if you want to keep going, you do that. Slight variation of this one. What we're going to now do is when we come up, bring the hips off the floor, we come onto one hand, so we're just going to bring the other arm over We're going to bring the elbow in towards us, and as we send the hips up, we send the hand over the top of the head for a nice big stretch, and then back in, and we do 5 of these each way. Also, just as high as you can go. Good, so about 5, and then we'll swap to the other side. So hands down, taking one off, bringing the elbow in, sending the hips up, sending the arm over the head. Keeping the shoulder nice and engaged and active. Everything moving together. And again. 5-ish of those. And once you've done your 5, you can come and relax down into a seat position. So, from here, we're going to swim the fingertips behind us, clasp the hands together behind the back, and push the chest open, straightening out the arms, dropping the shoulders down. Cool. From here, whichever leg you've got crossed in front is fine for now. We're going to swap over in a second. We'll reach the hands over the legs and drop the head down for a stretch here. Good. Rolling up. We're then going to change sides, so bring the other foot in front and do the same thing. Send the hands away, dropping over for your stretch. Cool. And then coming up. Another nice one that you can do with your roller, if you still have it handy, is basically like a child's pose position on here. So what we'll do is come onto the knees in front of the roller. We're going to pop elbows on, and then either you can put the hands together behind the head, or put the palms on the back of the shoulders or the neck. Drop the head down. You might need to adjust your position a little bit here. But the idea is that we want to try and drop the head through as much as we can for a stretch. And again, you can just play with your hand position behind the head or the neck. Cool. Just another one to do there with that one if you'd like. Oh, awesome. Cool, thank you very much guys. Hopefully that's been helpful. We'll do a little bit more of a lower one again, or a mixture one next time. But thank you for joining me, and hopefully see you again for another.